the one thing about the Gina Carano thing that happened that I'm not saying that people are ignoring. I just don't think it's being focused on enough. But the one thing about the Gina Carano situation that you're seeing, if you follow me on all forms of social media, particularly, for example, I posted about this. I know for sure on Twitter. I'm not saying this is my first time posting about it, but I did this long thread, and I talked about how you're seeing this play out. You saw the whole Gina Carano thing happen, and you're seeing that the left they live in a completely different dimension. It's not that they're just ruled, no, it's rather they're not ruled by reason or anything. That has nothing. That has something to do with it, but it's not just that. They live in their own dimension because they are at this perpetual state of gaslighting. So they need certain things to be true. It's not about it, okay, it's true because it is true. It's okay, I will speak it into existence, is how they operate. You saw that. They can't even concede the idea that Hollywood right now, for example, has a extreme political bias where it is certainly acceptable to be biased, to be like open. As long as you support leftist causes, you can say some very egregious things about half the damn voting population. You can do that. That's on the table. We've seen this. Disney will employ you, for example, to make it more unique to Carano's situation. We've talked about the Pedro Pascals, but it's not just him. Look at all the actors and actresses that have basically equated being a non-leftist to being a Nazi. And they can never see themselves as the baddies. They can't. They simply can't. They cannot see themselves as people that have done bad, that are morally bad. They can't see that. So what they will do is present you. This is why it sounds so crazy. Like, why would these people call folks Nazis of all things that aren't actually Nazis? Why would they call them white supremacists that aren't actually white supremacists? Well, it's because their narrative does not exist if that isn't the case. So what they try to do is speak it into existence. So this is why merely pointing out their hypocrisy doesn't even matter. Not to them. It may matter to the spectator, but it doesn't matter to them. To them directly, they don't care about being hypocrites. They don't care about contradicting themselves. They don't care about being consistent. That's not even on the table right now. They want to do whatever is advantageous to their cause. So what they are going to continue to do is come for your jobs. They do not want people among their ranks that are differing from them when it comes to their political slant. They don't want that. They hate that. They despise that. But now that that's out the way, we have to get to the root of the actual problem and why that is the case, and that there's an actual solution here. And it's what I've been presenting for you guys for a very, very long time. Right? The reality is that they hijacked a lot of your entertainment. So there's a political monopoly on so many subcultures, particularly in entertainment. They have your gaming, they have your movies, they have your TV shows, they have your sports, they have virtually everything because it was a slow infiltration process. They played the long game. They realized they didn't have to have the best ideas on their side, which I think is what a lot of non-leftist conservatives, libertarians think. Well, we have the ideas on our side, so we don't have to play their game. And you're seeing that having the ideas on your side isn't enough. It's never been enough, but you're seeing it certainly now. That doesn't matter. You can be the smartest person in the world. You can intellect your way around all of these people. It doesn't matter because you're not operating with people that have gotten to their positions by way of reasons. You hear me always say that. You cannot reason a person out of a position that they got to by way of emotion. And they played the long game and they hijacked your subculture. So what's happened is a lot of these properties that you guys have been familiar with, it's not that they created those properties. No, it's that they have control of them now. So what they are doing is going to beat you continuously over the head with that material, their political slant. And in the event that something does happen where you have a situation like Gina Carano, they're going to make sure that they do everything in their power to make sure that you're not existing. And again, the leftists will never concede that idea because they can't see themselves as the bad guy. So what they will say is like, well, Gina is no, it's not that. It's because she actually said something bad. It's bad. It has nothing to do with it. Again, we know for a fact, I've gone through all the receipts, or at least some of the receipts. I can't possibly go through all the receipts of the actual people that are employed by this company, not the egregious things that the company, with, like, for example, with the whole Mulan thing, like not even the things that the company's done directly. I'm talking about that people that they employ right now that have done either a similar thing, or, which is for the most part with the case, worse than what Gina has done in terms of labeling an entire, equating again the Jewish experience in the Nazi Germany, while also demonizing half of the voting population. They are good for that. Doesn't matter to them though. Gina was behind, and this is the reality of the situation. Gina was behind enemy lines. She was on an island behind enemy lines, and that's the problem that we must address. See, the easy route, and this is what a lot of people would do, is say, well, the reason why we can't exist is because of that. No, that's not what it is. No, that you're seeing the decades of infiltration come into fruition. If there were other Ginas, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. But the problem is that Gina was behind enemy lines. She was a non-leftist that is participating in something that is almost exclusively leftist. Either they are leftist or they have to be kind of in hiding. What I'm saying is you cannot be open about your political views to them and be a non-leftist. They don't like that. So she was behind enemy lines. So when it comes to finding the solution to the actual problem, I've said, and maybe this is a point in history that we'll look at. I talked about this on Twitch the other day, that we may look at through history. I'm not saying that this is going to happen, as a turning point. That fools will finally start waking up and understanding that this is a cultural battle, guys. The problem that a lot of conservatives have is that they put so much stake in politics, not understanding that politics are the lagging indicator. You fix the, you fix the culture. Politics are the lagging indicator. Politics will follow. But they put so much stake in it and think that's where the battle is going to be won, and it's not. It is going to be won by engaging in subcultures. Period. So Gina is not on an island. So this is my solution here, and this is what I'm saying needs to happen. It's going to have to happen. If you are participating in any of these subcultures, you need to out yourself. And not only do you need to out yourself, of course, the people that support certain subcultures, in this case entertainment, need to unapologetically support non-leftists. This tide does not change until that happens. What you have been doing now, and I think, because look, some people have gone the route of, okay, we need to cancel our Disney Plus accounts and stuff like that. See, some of that is, I get it, right? And I'm not saying that that's not a useful thing, but it doesn't answer the whole question, if you will, and it doesn't address the entire problem. It's not just about that. There are a lot of people that are not leftists that have money, that own businesses. The issue here is that for a very long time, you guys have been supporting, and now you still do. You've been more so supporting people that hate your guts, okay? You've been funding their projects, but you've been putting a big spotlight on and supporting people. And I'm not saying this is excusing me as well. No, not by any means. I'm saying that's what has been happening. What I am actually, I guess I'm presenting to you that you need to support and engage with the people that are in these subcultures already that are non-leftists. And do it unapologetically, do it proudly. I have been trying to shake the non-leftist movement, if you will. It's not a movement at all, because when I say non-leftist, that's what I'm saying, because I'm not saying conservatives and libertarians are the same way. Same. No, the leftist sees you guys as the same, but we're obviously not the same. This is why I'm saying non-leftist. But I talk about, as an example, there are so many content creators. There are, believe it or not, athletes. There are actors. There are actresses that are not leftists. And imagine if not only more people outed themselves and engaged in those subcultures, but just as much money and support and spotlight that you put on whatever brand comes out, rolling out actors and actresses, entertainers that hate you. What if you put that type of energy and support into people that actually do not support those causes? It sounds so simple because it is. And this is why I'm saying a lot of y'all are overcomplicated, because people, the minute some people come up, they'll try to strip, they look at Parler and stuff like that. See, there's some things that Parler did that screwed up. Maybe, I don't know, you shouldn't have went with Amazon Web Services. But if there were more examples of people that were engaging in this, that's not a problem. The problem right now that we have is that people are so isolated. So when a Gina exists, all the attention's on her. But if there were 40 Ginas, they can't possibly screw over that many people. They'll try, and some people will get screwed over, but they can't stop us all. They simply cannot. And this is why it's been more of, and the argument that I've been making, it's been more of neglect. Less about just them pushing you out and more of neglect. I've talked about how the conservatives just neglect. I mean, when you got leaders, even now, including Trump, including your beloved Trump, he just did it when he was in office, demonizing video games. It's like, what are you doing, man? That is not a winning strategy. Aubrey Huff. Oh, well, for those of you that are playing games, when was the last time you got laid? Yeah, that's not a winning strategy, guys. It's not. So this is why I believe that not only do these people have to out themselves, be open about who it is that they are, because a lot of folks already exist. And I wouldn't out them. I think that's something that you need to take on your own responsibility. But as an example, I have prints on my wall here and in my other studios that I got directly from people that are with Marvel, for example, and they're writers and they're artists. And they'll send me that stuff. Hey, man, I like your work. Publicly, I can't necessarily show that I support you. And I get it. But that fear, if we're going to get on the other side of that, has to be dropped. Y'all need to out yourselves, and people that, again, support, or rather people that are, let's say, non-leftists, need to support and embrace you, turn you guys into freaking rock stars, because that's exactly what the left's been doing for a very long time. The only thing is that they have control over so much of the entertainment because they have played the long game, that some properties that you guys are attached to, I get it. You go and support. So it's just assumed, like, people just casually, for example, that are non-leftists will discuss people and movies and music and stuff and thoroughly enjoy it, even though that person, that company or something like that hates their freaking guts. It's not that people don't exist that are non-leftists in these subcultures. It's that you've neglected it and you've treated it as if it was just a side note instead of actively engaging in it. You need to start actively engaging in it. Support these people. Out the people that are actually in it. Out yourselves. The people that are more so supporters of it, consumers, if you will, need to support it and do it as unapologetically as possible. I've told y'all time and time again, bro, like, people ask, like, man, endorsements and stuff like that. Have you ever been reached out to work with? No, I haven't. Yes, I'm one of the bigger content creators that are not a leftist that exist in some of these spaces. I have never been reached out for sponsorship for the most part, and endorsements by way of these non-leftist companies or something like that. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. It is just not a thing, right? Again, the left, that's not how they operate. They'll support And this is why you go look at Twitch right now, for example. It's a safe haven for leftists, and that's all that exists. The top gamers, they all peddle the same old bullcrap. Well, it's because they've been actively engaging with them. But again, if y'all put that energy instead of supporting those projects and those people and those properties, if y'all put that damn energy into supporting folks, and I'm not saying me, I'm saying guys, or just me rather, I'm saying anybody that's participating in subcultures and throwing that support unapologetically, like y'all do those other properties, we be on the other side of this like tomorrow. But I don't think it's gonna happen tomorrow. It's gonna be a slower grind, and it's gonna be a thing that has to happen. Stop neglecting culture. Stop assuming wrongfully that it's just simply a fact that you are being ostracized. Well, when the minute some guy comes up that's not a leftist, they do what happened to no, it's the fact that there's only one or two Ginas that exist. That's the problem. She's one of few that is active, like is pretty open about her politics, but she's not a leftist. She's unapologetic. She doesn't bend the knee. If there were more of her, none of this matters. But because leftists they have infiltrated, they have hijacked these subcultures, they can't possibly see themselves as the bad guys at all. We're to the point of where we're at now. So stop addressing the symptoms and address the core root of the problem. And that is that a lot of y'all have treated these subcultures as if they were just things. And I understand why you would do that. Because again, a lot of y'all are rational people, but you got to understand you're not dealing with rational people in terms of the people that have presented themselves as your adversary, and they certainly consider you the enemy. Yeah, it would be great if we could just consume whatever it is that we want, all the forms of escapism, and it's all good. We don't have to worry about that. That's not what we're dealing with. Culture is the biggest influence here. You're all a part of some subculture. And I'm saying it's limited to video gaming or stuff that I'm in, music, acting. It's not limited to just that. Everybody is a part of some sort of subculture, and you are the answer, believe it or not. And that should be optimistic. That should make you optimistic, rather. Give you some sense of optimism. Now, I can't tell you exactly how to navigate the subcultures that you guys are a part in. I can only give you the general scale. But this is a battle that can be fought and can be won. But there has to be a pivot en masse by way of non-leftists. It's not just simply about not supporting the people that hate you. It's that you need to put that energy that you had toward those properties behind the people that are the individuals that are groups of individuals that are within these subcultures that don't think like the rest of them. And if you are in there, be it. Act, wear it on your sleeve. It doesn't mean that you have to beat your audience over the head with it. That's not what I'm saying. But be open. Yes, this is what I am. I'm not one of y'all. And y'all need to gravitate. I'm not saying just do it just because. These folks, I get it. They need to be performers. They need to be talented. They need to actually be good at what it is that they're doing. And this is why, for those of you that have advised me, for example, with music, or rather ask me for my advice, like, hey, Backwards, your band, you guys seen a lot of success. How did you do it? First and foremost, we beat it on our craft. We got good at what it was that we did. So what we did was we made music that people liked. And that's why it resonated with so many folks that weren't leftists, because we were just good at what it was that we did. But we stuck out like a sore thumb. So be good at it. If you are engaging in it, don't just think just because, well, I'm not a leftist, you need to support me. No, be good at whatever it is that you do. And those are people that are great at what it is that they do. Y'all, as the consumers, as the supporter, as much energy as you put behind folks that freaking hate you, put that more and put that into those folks that are participating in these subcultures that simply don't think like the other people around them. And then this problem will get resolved. Be optimistic about it. But it's going to take certainly action from a lot of you. And a lot of you have to pivot from your preconceived notion. You have to understand that the strategy that a lot of these people have, talking to you conservatives, a lot of strategy that you guys have has been utterly ineffective. I talk about this a lot. Conservatives, what entertainment subcultures do they even have? It's like they don't in country music, maybe. And they losing that. That's it. That's about it. That's all that exists. And then they sit here and wonder, like, wow, what the hell is going on? All these young people don't, they come out thinking like socialists. It's because you're not even there. You have zero presence there. And it's not because there aren't people that are in these subcultures that aren't non-left. It's that you just either put your support behind people that hate you, you neglected it, and you didn't actually take it seriously, man. Like the leftists did. They played the long game, so they got all your entertainment and they got your education. And y'all just drop them off at those indoctrination camps known as public schools. So they got them from top to bottom. And that's how they win. So there's alternatives that have been coming up. Some people that are being out. Y'all need to gravitate towards them like you never have. And don't just do it unapologetically. And then those other guys are either going to have to make an adjustment to stop with this bull crap, or they'll be fading into obscurity. And that's what a lot of companies are going to find out the hard way. If what I'm saying ends up happening, and there is a cultural shift, they've put all of their stake. A lot of these companies, for example, put all of their stake in appealing to a crowd that does not even care about their bottom line. A lot of these folks with the Gina Carano thing, for example, you think they care if Disney actually makes money? No. They're activists at the end of the day. They just like the fact that someone that they consider as their enemy no longer has a platform. It's not on one of the biggest brands in Star Wars that exists. That's all they care about. They don't give a damn about that. But that, because it is lucrative right now, those companies have went all in and they're appealing to them. It's not a reliable thing. But because once at some point, if the culture starts to shift, they're done. They're going to either have to make an adjustment, but if they're going to continue to commit to that side, they're done. So I'm not saying that this is going to be easy. I'm going to end a segment like this. I'm not saying that this is going to be easy, but this is an absolute battle that can be fought. But it's going to take y'all having to realize, definitely those of you that have just treated subcultures as if they were just a thing, and they weren't actually tools to change the future. Y'all have to pivot on your approach. And once you do, we'll get on the other side of this.